Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second day of Elfmas. It's great to see everyone again, and we have a special guest. Hi there, Jen. How are you?
Hello, good, thank you. Nice to be here.
Excellent, excellent. And so the top row are all Canadians. Yay!
Hooray!
Yes.
No offense to Kathy or Danita.
Sorry. It's not often that the Canadians actually outnumber the non-Canadians, so I just thought I'd point that out. Though we're not lined up geographically where we actually would belong if we were looking at a map, but only
That's
map
okay.
geeks worry about that, little detail. But Kathy is representing the US and California in particular, and Danita is over in Italy, and our fifth elf is traveling, so she is out and about and whatnot. But yes, I did find a Santa hat. The Santa hat I've been wearing for previous years, which had glitter on, was my wife's, and I was destroying it, so I thought I would buy a new one. So there we go. Anyways, hope everyone's enjoying the Secret Santa Challenge, and our elves are working hard away. And today, for a special treat, Elf Christine is going to talk about how she solves a wish for Jen. So I'm going to turn it over to Jen to sort of introduce us to the person, the profile, your wish, and then Christine will take it away, and we'll just sit here in awe.
Awesome. This is so exciting. Thank you for having me. Lillian Rashaw is the lady that I was looking for. So I have a project called the Canadian Aviatrix Project, which my daughter calls my flying ladies. I first found I read an article years back about a group of women in Vancouver, the first women to get their private pilot's licenses who lived in Vancouver. And they were called the Flying Seven, which in itself is just the best name ever. And so I started researching them. And as part of that, I found this amazing book called No Place for a Lady, which is about the early women pilots in Canada. And the appendix in that book was a list of the first 100 women to get their pilot's licenses, and with a little star beside each person that the author hadn't been able to find. And the book was written in the early 90s. So as you can imagine, the list of stars was considerable. And so I decided to take this as a project and to start filling in the gaps. And so some of the ladies were really easy, some of them not so much. Lillian being on the not so much side. So all I found for Lillian was basically some newspaper articles saying this lady, Lillian Rashaw, has her pilot's license. Isn't that great? Oh no, she's had a crash and knocked out some teeth. And that's about it. Couldn't find, and I thought Rashaw's an unusual name, so I'll be able to find her. Nope, couldn't find her anywhere. No censuses, no birth records. And I put her on my blog, and I got a comment from someone saying, "Oh yes, I know who this lady is. She became Lillian. I think it was Bull and then Haddo, but I couldn't connect the maiden name that this person had with Rashaw. I couldn't see Rashaw to Brewis and how they connected up. And so my wish was, could somebody tell me who Lillian Rashaw was? Is she Lillian Brewis? And kind of connect all the dots. And so that's where I got to.
Amazing. So I will start sharing my screen. Can you guys see Lillian here?
Yep.
Are you guys able to see Lillian?
Yep, absolutely.
Perfect. So this is your blog with an absolutely beautiful picture of Lillian. And this is where I started from, looking at this picture, looking to see what you had already, and reading the little note that you had, and then seeing that comment down at the bottom, exactly what you said, that she had married a bull and then another gentleman by the name of Haddo. And you had linked her, but you had linked her to another Lillian with the name of Brewis. And so I thought, well, let's have a look at Lillian Brewis. And of course, you have completely fleshed out Lillian Brewis. And I thought, well, absolutely, there's no way this is the same Lillian. They were born about the same time. She did marry a gentleman by the name of Haddo, but the parents aren't right. Nothing else was really lining up other than her first name and her second husband's last name, which isn't a lot. So, what did you know about Lillian? So you have also got a profile of Lillian, again, born about 1921. You have her born in Sudbury. You have her father as Steve, which was great. There's my little Santa note of what you asked for. And then you have some notes, which I looked through. And she was in that plane crash with Charles where she lost a couple of teeth. And then she does absolutely disappear. And you're right. There should have been more, right? So what was I going to do? How was I going to start this? Being born at 21, we're not going to be able to find a birth record. We may or may not be able to find a marriage record. Did she hang around in Ontario? Was she born in Sudbury? So the work was definitely there to dig through. I thought maybe I could find her in the 1931 census, which is the last census that's available for us in Canada, or maybe the voters lists, which are sometimes helpful. And being in Sudbury, that was part of the Nipissing district. But when I went to look at the voters list for Nipissing district, there were none for 1940 at all, which was not helpful. And then in 1935, which is the first year the voters lists are available, I tried looking for the address where they were living, Wembley Drive in Sudbury, and nothing matched up. I couldn't find the right house. I couldn't find anything resembling that family. I was like, oh my goodness, like, what are we going to do? So then I was like, okay, maybe we can go back to the 31 census and have a look and see if we can find something. Now, of course, looking at her name, I was like thinking maybe that's not her actual name. Maybe somebody spelled something wrong. So in the 1931 census, of course, here's our enumerator, lovely sounding English name. And being in Sudbury, which is a highly French populated, there's going to be a lot of different economies going on up there, a lot of different industries. I know there's going to be a lot of immigrants. So this guy probably didn't know how to spell half of the names that he was being told who was who. So we come over here to the 1931 census, and we have
there she is.
And there's his wife Rose, and there's
God. Yay!
Where are they living? They're living on Oak Street. And so then they have this, is obviously you can see that they've got this spelled with an F in the middle. If you look closely, that's actually a J. And I have no idea how to say it, but it's RAJCSAK. And if you go over and you look, now here's Steve. He's born in the US. He says his father was born in Czechoslovakia. His wife, Rose, was born in Hungary. Her parents were born in Hungary, and they came into Canada in 1915. Well, if they came into Canada in 1915 and he was born in the States, then there's got to be a border crossing somewhere. And you can see they're both Hungarian, they're Roman Catholic, and he is working as a lead burner, which is a term I had never heard before. And it turns out it's a type of welding. So he was working in some sort of acid plant, what the heck that was, in Sudbury in 1931, no idea.
Lead burner?
But he was working as a lead burner. So now I have a good idea of what where I'm going with this. So then we go and we find a border crossing. And this is for Rose. This is in 1930. This is at Bridgeburg. Bridgeburg is in Fort Erie. If anybody is familiar with Ontario, Fort Erie matches up with Buffalo, New York, and Bridgeburg is now just like a little part of the bigger town of Fort Erie. So she was crossing there. And if we look down here, we can see, where did she go? There, Rose You can see on line 12, there's Rose. She says she was born in a place called Tath, Hungary. Of course, I can't find anything about that, so I move on. Her last residence, oh, look at that. Her last residence was in Hamilton. And her next of kin, or she's going to Hamilton, her next of kin is her husband. I'll make that bigger. I don't know if you guys can see that. It was her husband, Steve, who is in Sudbury. And then she's got a sister, Anna, last name Campbell, and she's living at 103 Sanford Avenue North in Hamilton. Okay, great. We know that we're there now. We know definitely she's been hanging around Ontario. Then I come across this one, which is a marriage record. So here's a marriage for Steve and his wife, Rose, whose last name is Zambo with a Z. And look where he is living. 103 Sanford Avenue North in Hamilton. And also gives his place of birth. So he's born in East Chicago, which, not actual Chicago, East Chicago, and it's in Indiana. And there's his occupation. He's a lead burner, Roman Catholic, and his parents are Steve and Mary. Her last name was, in Hungarian, it's spelled S-V-A-B. It was pronounced Schwab. And then we have Rose, who was living also in Hamilton at the time. We have another place of birth for her in Hungary. And then her parents, Andrew Zambo and Lydia Zinko. Next, what did I find? We have a border crossing for Lillian. So here's Lillian Rose, who is a returning U.S. citizen, crossing at Buffalo. Says here she was born in Hamilton, and she's working as a stenographer. That her last address was Sudbury. Her father is Steve. Her birthday is December the 9th, 1919. Her next of kin, whatever, is a friend. And then if we look over here, and I will have to flip this. These are the notes at the bottom of her border crossing. So it says that she presented a birth certificate from her father that shows that he, Steve, was born in East Chicago, Indiana. And then she also has a letter from the Air Force in Fort Worth, Texas. Now, wouldn't I love to have a copy of that? I couldn't find anything related to that, but it's an interesting comment because it lines up with her being a pilot.
Right.
Stating that she is, it's difficult to read, and she's returning for the Army Air Force. Lines up. And then we move on to, I found another census. This time we're in Buffalo. And this is the 1930 census. This is 1 year before we find them in Sudbury. So she's in Buffalo. They were living on Tonawanda Street or Avenue. You can find them. There's Steve. There's Rose. There's Lillian. So he's born in Indiana. His parents are born in Hungary. His wife is born in Hungary. Lillian was born in Canada. Father in Indiana, mother Hungary. And if you look over, there's Steve working as a lead burner in the rayon silk mill in Buffalo. My next record I found was a border crossing for Rose. This is Steve's wife. And this is at the Ambassador Bridge in Michigan. So now we have an even bigger place of birth in Hungary, if anybody knows where that is. And look at her last permanent residence right here, 411 Wembley. That's where they were living. And So then it says here that she's moving. Her destination is to reside at Canal Winchester in Columbus, Ohio, with her husband. She's accompanied by her husband. And if we go to the slide just right before, that's her husband, Steve Julius. He's coming in with her. He's working as a lead burner. There's their address, Sudbury. And he's got a new employer, and they're moving to Columbus, Ohio. And this was in 1945. So then 45, what comes after 45 was the 1950 census. So now we find them in the 1950 census. There's Steve and Rose, and they've got a kid with them, Marlin, and her last name is Loudy, and she's a granddaughter. Now we already know that from all the other censuses that they only had Lillian, so this has to be Lillian's daughter. Now, do you think I could find this Loudy guy that she married? Absolutely not. But I found the next best thing. Here's Lillian marrying James Haddo.
Where's Lillian?
This is Lillian's.
Oh, there
we go.
Lillian Loudy, and there's her second husband, James Haddo.
So it was Haddo, just a different Haddo.
Just a different guy.
Wow.
So she is not Lillian Brewis. They just happen to have a lot of things in common, but this is her. And apparently she died in 2007, I believe, but I couldn't find I couldn't find proof of her death. Everything I found said that she died in Los Angeles, but I don't think I found anything after that. So what do we think? Do we think that she is this Lillian Rose? There's her father and her mother. There's all my sources. And then I started working on her tree. Her tree goes back to Istvan. Her father's line goes back to Istvan. His mother died young. And then Rosalia, I was just working on Rosalia, and this is how I found myself in some Hungarian records, which I've never been into before. But we found, Liz actually pointed me in the direction. And we have, if anybody can read Hungarian, this is her birth or baptismal record. And there's that town that but I can't remember if this is a town or a township or a county or whatever. Anyway, I can't read most of it. But you can see there's her father's name, Zambo Ansel, which turned into Andrew. And her mother's name is Lydia. So was it Lydia? Yeah, there's Lydia. And then this is Sinko, Sinko, or sometimes it's spelled with a Z.
Wow.
There you go.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. That's
You're
just
welcome. It was
fantastic.
It was
the
so
first
fun.
census that pops up, and I'm like, there she is. And then you kept going. And that's just
well, you
brilliant.
can't stop there.
That's fantastic. And it's so wonderful as well to get where the confusion was. Yes. It's Lillian about the right age Haddo, but not that Lillian that age Haddo. It's just, and it's a good example of why we don't just go, it must be that one. Close enough. Yeah. No,
well, I mean, all your sources for Lillian Brewis were 100% on point. And I found the same articles that you had found, the same stuff that you had found. I'm like, yeah, no, she's absolutely right. This can't be the same person. What the heck happened to her? So Yeah.
Because I was going down the road of, maybe Lillian Bruce's mom, maybe the dad died
Right.
and the mom got remarried and then she became Rashaw, and that's how the Rashaw started. And maybe even Rashaw was like her, like a flying name, and she
Right.
just went by it like a TV name. But then we had the pilot's license, so there was a government document that had her name on it, so it has
Right.
to be official somehow. So,
Yeah.
that's
And
brilliant.
it's interesting
Thank you.
because nowhere else in any of the censuses is it spelled Rashaw. It's
Right.
always with the Hungarian spelling.
Just at some point they've decided to make it simpler for Canadians to say, and it's become that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens all the time, right? We see it all the time, and we see it a lot with, the families who move from Quebec into Michigan and Minnesota. Like, they get anglicized like
Mhm.
that. It's so common. So yeah. I still
A
don't
few
know
of
how to
few
pronounce
of the
them.
other flying ladies have that as well, that they come over with, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, whatever, and lots of Zs and lots of the ones with the Zs with the line and that kind of thing.
Yes.
And then all of that gets taken out very quickly.
That's why I haven't gotten any farther, because I'm like, oh no, there's accents on these letters in Hungarian. I don't know what I'm doing. So
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Best Christmas present ever. Brilliant.
20 minutes. I'm done.
20 minutes. Excellent. Good. Right in our time, the sweet spot. Fantastic.
Yeah.
That was great, Christine. That's amazing. Wow.
Thank you.
And
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun. Yeah.
Great detective work. Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us, Jen. And I'm glad you enjoyed the reveal and everything.
Perfect. That's
That's
brilliant.
fantastic.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. So come back tomorrow. We'll have another one. Tomorrow I'm actually letting you. We're actually filming it later this afternoon, and then it will be played at 12 noon. So come to at 12 noon on YouTube, and you'll see the reveal. But another Secret Santa elf will be revealing the wish that he fulfilled, and I think his wishy will be joining us for that as well. So hopefully all of those connections work out, and the recording, you'll get to enjoy that as well. So have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you around. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.